then they made the decision, and we're going to have a hearing at the refugee board that was in Montreal. And then afterwards, they made the decision in October, and they rejected our case, saying that even though we do realize that what you're going through is an issue, we still believe that you can seek redress in the United States. And we had already filed a Supreme Court case at the highest court in the United States. So you can't, do that again. No, we can do that on our website. On our website, we'll have a blog that has all our court papers for view, to show that this indeed happened and that there are such things as African American refugees. So we had filed for an appeal. Well, they don't call it an appeal, they call it an application for leave and judicial review. Leave is to stay the removal order that would be issued as a result of your claim being rejected, and the judicial review is for the court to decide if there is anything foul or erroneous in the decision that was made originally rejecting your claim. And so if the court does decide that there was something wrong, then they'll tell the same immigration refugee board to make the decision again, and you'll have a rehearing, and you'll get your opportunity to supply the evidence that you need. But what they had done was very sneaky. They had issued the removal order before we had heard back from the court and before we finished the whole judicial review process. And so we had to leave before we were even able to seek redress for the decision that they made, because I saw a lot of flaws in a decision that they had gave us in October. So the fact that they did that was persecution in and of itself, because the definition of persecution is an international definition. They get it from the 1951 Geneva Convention. It was it's the definition of a convention refugee, because we're applying for convention refugee status. So you have to have well-founded fear, and well-founded fear includes subjective fear and objective fear. Subjective fear is that the person facing the persecution, demonstrates that they have fear of that persecution, that risk of persecution. And then objective fear is like external factors that indicate that there is a risk for that person. And then persecution is, the definition of persecution is a bit on the foggy side. It's kind of like 50-50, like some judges consider certain things persecution, other judges don't. It's case law. Case law is doxa, or opinion in other words. So they determine what they view is persecution depending on who they're deciding their case for. And there's no really set definition. Some say you can use like a dictionary, other judges' opinions about what's considered persecution, but nonetheless, what the persecution is supposed to be based on, because there's supposed to be grounds for persecution. You can't just be persecuted. You have to be persecuted for a specific reason or reasons. There are 5 grounds of persecution. There's race, gender, religion, membership in a particular group, and political opinion. So we had done ours, of course, for race, religion, because we're Muslim, and political opinion, and also membership in a particular group. And in addition to that too, there's nationality, because even Canada was discriminating against us because of our nationality. Us being US citizens, they call us DCOs. So DCOs can't get attorneys. DCOs can't go to legal aid, which is the public legal service that they offer all other refugees except for DCOs. And they removed us back to the States before we were able to complete our application for judicial review, because we're DCOs. Because if we were non-DCOs, they couldn't have done that. They would have to stop everything and let us wait out the whole judicial review process. But because we were DCOs, It doesn't matter whether or not the application for judicial review process was complete. They would be removed anyway. So even what we experience in Canada itself can be considered persecution. And that's like one of the most ironic things about our experience there, because we were going to them for help and they were persecuting us.
Yeah.
But then again, they have such a close, tight-knit relationship with the United States that who would expect a country like Canada to say, with conviction that the United States has refugees? Because no first world country wants to admit that they have third world conditions for certain people. In political science, they call it the fourth world. The fourth world is third world living conditions in a first world country. We're fourth world. We're postcolonials, in other words. And so, because they don't want to admit it, our problems are tucked under the rug, are swept underneath the underneath. I remember last year the UN had visited President Obama and was asking him questions about the whole persecution and the South Carolina massacres and all those other horrible events that take place against the African American community facing police brutality. And he had said that the situation's fine and it's getting better, and it's not. The situation is not fine and things aren't getting better. And yet we don't have an outlet where we can discuss all that we're going through as a people. Not just me and my family, but all the African community here in America. Everyone, it keeps us silent. Like, we're not supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to just endure it like we've always done. But how long are we going to endure? Until we wiped off the face of the planet, from the face of the earth, until there's no more African people in the world? Is that when, and then you can put it in history books and say, yes, such and this happened, 100 years ago, and it was true, all that they were saying was true, but no one did anything about it. Well, that's what happened in World War II. In World War II, everyone saw the signs of Hitler rising. Everyone saw the signs of Germany becoming an aggressor, a world aggressor, and yet they just let him run. They just let him run until he became too powerful, until all those countries had to become involved, until all those soldiers had to die, and it was white soldiers that were dying in those wars. It was a European war, and it was affecting everybody in the world. So you can take one group and persecute them, but because we're all part of the same community, international community, it's going to eventually spread like a wildfire to all other countries. I remember when I was taking a feminist class here at my university, I was learning that, I learned from my professor Nide Koikari, that when they were raping African American women during slavery, it started the trend for sexual violence throughout the United States, and then it went from just exclusively raping African American women to raping all women. So now they're persecuting us, but then they're going to persecute everybody the same way that they're persecuting us. And also Tocqueville had said once too, he was a French political scientist during the 1800s and he was visiting the States. He had said that democracy is a good thing if the citizens are willing to protect each other's rights, no matter what group of the citizens they are, because it's so easy for a democratic government to become an authoritarian dictatorship. Because if the people are slack, then that means the government has too much power. It has unnatural power. Unnatural power where it can act against its own laws, against international laws, and everyone will still say nothing about it. Everyone will let it slide and still have him look as if though they're the good people, that they're saving the world, that they're a superhero, and they're really the aggressor. They're really the brutalizer. They're the villain. So one of the questions that I have as a political scientist is, where does the legitimacy of authority end and its power continue? Because what makes a government legitimate is it maintaining its role as a mediator between the peoples. It's supposed to keep the peace. It's not supposed to go out in left field and start causing chaos for not only the country but also other parts in the world. It's supposed to be a peacekeeper. That's why they always, do heinous acts or illegal acts under